So you may have been harassed while you've been out on the streets, suffering from verbal abuse, maybe even physical abuse. There's lots of posts from young women, and there's been two recently from two high-profile actresses who've suffered from this while they've been out on the street. I'm going to talk about Cooper's colour codes. These are your secret weapon that you can use to never get involved in any sort of harm ever again. Um, I'm going to break it down for you shortly, but your ultimate goal is to stay safe anytime, anywhere, any place. So, whether you're at home, whether you're at work, whether you're out and about doing your daily chores, your daily activities, maybe you're traveling abroad, that is your ultimate goal. And Cooper's color codes are what's going to help you do that. If you don't know me, my name's Rock Higgins. I protect people. And when I'm not protecting them, I'm teaching other people how to protect themselves and their families. So let's break Cooper's color codes down. What are they? Well, they're a mindset, and there are different stages that we need to go through to be able to protect ourselves. The first stage, called the victim state, is this code white. Code white is the victim state. So this is you. If you've been attacked, you've been in this state. And this is what the bad guys look for. And these bad guys are everything from the lowest mugger, robber, pickpocket, the rapist, the murderer, the top tier terrorists out there. They all do the same thing. They choose targets. And if you've been a victim of harassment, you've been in code white. So you've had your earphones on, your big earphones, your earbuds, you're scrolling on your phone, you're chatting with your friends, you might be late, running around, dashing about down the street, you're looking in shop windows, you're focused on what you want to buy, you're all excited about buying some new clothes, shoes, whatever it is, you're not aware of who's around you. And that's what the bad guys are looking for, you being unaware. What we want to be able to do is be aware at all times. So the next stage, or the first stage we actually want to be in, is code yellow. Now, code yellow is like turning on our personal radar. And I disagree with a lot of people who teach this, because a lot of people say you don't need to be aware until you're outside your front door in the big bad world. Totally disagree with that. You need to be aware as soon as you get out of bed in the morning in your own house, because things happen within your own house. You need to be aware of the sounds in your own house during the day, different times of the day and the night, even if there's nobody there, or even if you're there on your own and it's really quiet, that house will make sounds. It'll have smells. There's things going on, pets, toys, all sorts of stuff going on. And it's a baseline, and that's what I'm going to talk about in a different video. But what is normal in your house, and how do you know when something's not normal? We talk about gut feelings and things like that. So our personal radar needs to be switched on. Now, our personal radar is all about us 360-degree awareness. It's a big bubble. It's not just on a lateral plane. It's on a big bubble. It surrounds us. And we need to be aware of everything that's going on as much as possible. So the ideal is 365 days a year, 52 weeks, every single minute of the day. That's impossible, because we just can't do that. We're sleeping, we might be drunk, we're doing other things. We might be in a 100% safe environment where we don't need to be switched on. So we're never going to do that, but we need to do it as much as possible. So being aware. Now, funnily enough, I do it. I walk down the street scrolling on my phone. I've talk on my phone. I'm doing all sorts of different things, looking in shop windows and that. We can do all that that's in code white as long as we are aware. As long as I'm scrolling and I'm looking up and seeing who's around me, is anybody taking notice of me? So as long as I'm being aware, I can do everything in code white, what's all the bad guys out there are looking for. But I'm also showing them that I'm being aware. So that's code yellow. Within code yellow, we have our observations. So who's most dangerous to you? Somebody who's an arm's length away, or somebody 200 meters away? Obviously, it's the person who's the closest, isn't it? Who can just take 2 steps and they can grab you. That's the most dangerous person. So we need to observe those in our immediate vicinity, because they're the most dangerous. And like I said, this is a big subject. We need to be pigeonholing people. So that's observation of the close ground. Then we need to scan the middle and the far ground. And that scanning of the middle and the far ground is where we are walking towards. So we're looking for threats further down the road, or further down the pavement or the road if we're driving. So we're giving ourselves time to make decisions if we do spot a threat. The next stage we want to go to is code orange. This is our pre-threat stage. And what we want to do, like I've said, is give ourselves time to respond, make decisions, and avoid threats. So if I'm walking down the road and I see somebody sitting on a windowsill who might be observing me, I can go, okay, that's a potential threat. Now, if I've got a potential threat, I still need my 360-degree awareness going on around me all over the place. I still need to be aware of where the traffic is, who's around me, observing, scanning the different distances. I still need to be doing that, but I still need to know that that's a potential threat. Now, as I walk down the road, that might turn out not to be a threat, and the threat might come from somewhere else. But I need to be able to understand, okay, that's a threat. If he gets off that windowsill and starts walking towards me, I am going to do whatever I'm going to decide on doing. Turning around, walking away, going into a shop, crossing the road. So I'm giving myself time to respond to threats every single time I see something. So I'm not just blindly walking into it. We call it advance to ambush, where we're just blindly walking into getting attacked. Code white. The next stage is code red. Code red is where we're going to act on that threat that has now become 100% confirmed. So we've had a potential threat, and I've said to myself, right, if he does this, I'm going to do that. Now it's confirmed. So he's got off the windowsill and he's now walking towards me. I'm going to go, okay, I'm crossing the road. I'm going to quickly dash into this shop and just avoid him. If he comes into the shop or he starts following me, that's even more confirmation. So I would be deciding, okay, once I've started to cross the road, if he follows me, I'm going to do this. So I'm giving myself time to respond to those threats. So that's code white, code yellow, code orange, and code red. One of the ones we don't want to be in is code black. Before I come on to code black, you'll have heard of a model called the fight, freeze, or flight model. Now, these are different stages. So, and like I said, these are different parts of our decision-making process. So we either need to fight at some point. So if that threat becomes 100% and I've made that decision maybe slightly too close and he's tried to lunge at me and grab me, I prep myself that, okay, if he does that, I'm going to fight. So I've made that decision in code orange, or I'm going to flee. Where the freeze comes in, and I'm sure you've all done it, you've walked down the corner, you've bumped into somebody and you've gone, oops, sorry, or somebody's given you a shock or you've had a shock and you flinch. That is where the freeze comes in. And that's, even though we're looking at this linear, this sort of is more to the 12 o'clock. If 12 o'clock was the white, code black would be at the 11 o'clock. Code yellow would be at the 1 o'clock. We don't want to be frozen. Yeah, we don't want that shock, because as soon as we freeze and we flinch, that's putting us into code white. That's our panic stage. So we don't want to be going into code black because we're not giving it. We've got no time to respond. We'll have what's called an adrenaline dump, which makes us panic even more. We'll flinch. We won't be able to respond. And again, we're looking at being back into code white and being that victim. That's a very quick overview of a very big subject. If you want any more information, drop a comment. If you want any free advice, I'm quite happy to help there. My name's Rock Higgins. This is Viper Tactical Training. Stay dangerous.